My name is Chad, and I am an alcoholic, and I am grateful to be sober today. Martin mentioned already that we've been in the room pretty much the same amount of time, only there was a period of time where I decided to stop following the rule, stop following the big book. Uh, so my original uh, speaker meeting was supposed to be on October the 4th, which was my 2 year point. And because of this program, I couldn't do it. I was busy doing something for my family. The entire reason for me being here every day is my family. There is, I never missed an appointment. I never missed an event. I never missed anything because of my drinking, but I was really never there. So and if you're here to hear a drunk log, I'm not going into everything I did and everything I said and everything that's just not here. That's between me, my higher power, and my sponsor. They've heard it all. So, uh, but I will say that I started drinking pretty young. I'm the son of an alcoholic. My father got sober when I was about 16 years old. So way back in 1986, 1987. Uh, so I I know the program. I knew the program then, but once again, uh, it just wasn't there for me. I knew all the warning signs. Every time I got in trouble growing up through high school, uh, there was alcohol involved. It got so bad at one point, my parents sent me to rehab, IOP, outpatient, as an 18-year-old. I was an IOP. But the problem with that, while I did the soul searching, I did all the steps, I never had the gift of desperation at that point. Until I had the gift of desperation, I would just spin my wheels. Uh, Fast forward past high school and the troubles I had there, I was still fortunate enough they let me join the Navy. Well, if you don't know anything about the military, drinking is part of it, a big part of it. Guess what? Every time I got in trouble in the Navy, there was alcohol involved. So, what you could say is maybe Chad's just not a very good drinker. So I continued to keep trying and trying and trying. Did over just over 20 years in the Navy, stayed in the Virginia Beach area, work for the Navy now as a civilian, even though I'm not getting paid today. But hey, that's neither here nor there. Uh, yeah, so I want to fast forward. My son was born a year before I retired from the Navy, and I was there for everything, but I was never really there. All my thoughts, all of my planning, everything went to drinking. What time can I start drinking? What time do I have to go to bed so I can try to not wake up with a hangover so I can go to work and do it all over again? My drinking was from the time I got up in the morning until the time I basically passed out at dinner. And I had that gift of desperation. I started going to meetings, in-person meetings. Well, they just didn't catch for me. Uh, I've tried a few different groups, not, just didn't work for me. And I continued to drink. I continued to drink the whole time I was going to in-person meetings. I continued to drink so hard that there was times they told me to shut the fuck up. You're speaking in cursive, Chad. I'm glad you're here. We know that you have the desire to stop drinking, but shut up. Uh, by the grace of God, I found, well, at this time was the meeting we used to have before it got shut down, and we turned everything around from one day to the next and started a whole new meeting. And there's a lot of faces I'm looking at that were here during that time. Faces that have helped me stay sober. Faces that I hope that when I am of service, it helps them stay sober. Martin mentioned service, and it is so important. And I know we had a young lady in here, she said she had a half day sober. You are my hero. You are my hero. You are the reason that I stay sober, because a smart person will learn from their mistakes, but a really smart person will learn from others. That's why I sit here and listen every day. No, I don't share every day. I don't, sometimes I'm not here every day because of the great life that I've been able to build because of this program and because of each and every one of you. I get to do that stuff. I woke up at 4:30 this morning to go help with a ROTC competition. My son wasn't even there. My son's in the other room laying in bed because he had all four wisdom teeth pulled yesterday. But my responsibility, much like to this group, is to be there and to help out where I can. The old Chad wouldn't do that. The Chad in the madness that was a family destroyer, that was a self destroyer, a job destroyer. And we'll get into my job here in a minute. But because of this program, I get to do all this stuff that I never would have been trusted to do, stuff that nobody wanted me to do, because you never know what Chad was going to show up. God, I hope Chad hasn't been drinking. Oh, God, Chad drove here. I know he's been drinking. I don't have to worry about that anymore. It is so awesome. Uh, when I really developed that gift of desperation, though, was, start drinking on my way to work. I was pulled over by a state policeman, and I'd already been drinking. It was 5:30 in the morning. Thank God he just said, "Hey, dummy, slow down." And off I went. That was a big awakening for me. But maybe not big enough because I didn't quit that day. Didn't have that gift of desperation yet. I never crashed any cars. I did run my car into the front bushes of my house. So hurting myself, thank by the grace of God, once again, did not hurt anybody else physically. Emotionally, man, every day took a toll on my family. Every day. How much his dad had to drink before he got home? Will he make it through dinner? Nope, nope, nope. He went off to bed. I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to do it. So I joined AA. I threw myself out there because I thought, you know what? If I figure out why I drink, I can stop and I'll have it beat. For this alcoholic, it doesn't matter. I was searching, it was because of this, it was because of that. It it doesn't matter to this alcoholic why I drank. I drank because I'm an alcoholic. End of story. Now let's move on because if I was out there, if I got bit by a snake, I would get my ass to the hospital and get what I needed to not be infected by that snake bite. I'm not going out looking for that snake to ask it why it fucking bit me. No, I looked at the 12 steps and the 12 traditions of Alcoholics Anonymous, and that's all I need. I don't need to dig up anything else. I did that all during my fourth step and when I shared it on my fifth step. And every day I continue to search out folks to be able to apply my make amends to. There's some people that I'll never be able to make an in-person amend because they're no longer with us. But every time I pray to my higher power, I ask for forgiveness for those that I harmed while I was in the madness. I mean, years, years. I mean, I just had my uh, belly button birthday last Monday. Turned 55. I don't know that I would have made 55. With the way I was going, I don't know that I would have made it. I know I probably wouldn't be sitting in this room because of the damage I was causing to my family. They had had enough. I had had enough. So I was fortunate enough to be able to celebrate a birthday. And when my dad quit drinking, I said, Dad, why'd you quit drinking? He said, son, I probably wouldn't even have made my 50th birthday had I kept going the way I was. Keep going the way I was. It really is madness. I like to my and I don't want to trigger anybody, but I believe I was probably trying to kill myself, but I was doing it slowly. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Didn't have the guts to do it the fast way. But yeah, I don't know that I would have made 55. Between car accidents and cirrhosis of the liver, I probably wouldn't be sitting here continuing to try. So, what I can do today, and I do it every day, is I wake up and I practice the first three steps. 1, 2, 3 every day. 1, 2, 3 every day. So that first step for me was the absolute hardest. I know it is for a lot of alcoholics, but for mine, it was all ego driven. I could not admit that I wasn't in control. I couldn't. For over 20 years, I was taught how to run stuff, how to make stuff happen, how to get it done, and move on. It was very hard for me to say, I don't have control of something. So that was a big step for me, getting through admitting that I was an alcoholic and that my life was unmanageable. And I remind myself of that every day. I carry my white AA chip, my 24-hour chip with me everywhere I go. And when I start thinking about, I got this, it's all good now, I break out that chip. Because as soon as you start thinking that you got this and it's not going to be a problem anymore, run screaming to somebody. They don't even have to be an alcoholic. Just go talk to them. Say, hey, what am I like when I drink? They'll tell you. And then if that doesn't work, then I'll take that poker chip that's made out of plastic, stick it in my mouth, and if it dissolves, I'll be able to take a drink then. Guess what? It never happened. So every day I carry that chip with me. My most important chip. For my young lady who has a half a day, good for you. For those of you who have less time than me, in the string of 24-hour days, I'm no better than you. None of these alcoholics in this room have done anything more than what you're doing today. We're getting through today. Tonight, I'm going to bed sober. And I'm waking up without a hangover. And that's what I'm going to keep trying to do every single day. Uh, the first three steps, once again, finding my higher power. In my head, there was no greater higher power than me because I could try to control everything. Wait, well, I got to rely on somebody else besides myself? What? Are you crazy? Nah. Once again, if you think you got this, run screaming because this alcoholic ain't got shit. I don't got nothing. So moving forward, uh, working through my first three steps every morning. Uh, and then when I get to work, I read the daily reflection and I have that going through my head all day. It just keeps my mind focused on my goal, and that's not to drink today. Now, there's some days where I say the serenity prayer 1,000 times. 1,000 times. It's kept me out of more trouble than I can even count. I don't know how many times. And it's kept me from throat punching people now and again. Now I don't have to worry about it. A lot of things going on in my life today. I go to work every day, not getting paid because I'm an accepted government employee. Not not knowing if the mortgage is going to get paid, not knowing if the car payment's going to get made, not knowing a whole lot of shit. But I know that a drink's not going to fix it. It's going to make it a lot worse. Because I don't know what kind of alcoholic you are, but one's not going to do it for me. One is too many and 1,000's not enough. One of my favorite AA sayings, and we have a few here in this program. I have a goal every day, and that's to go to bed sober and be a good person. This program didn't stopping drinking. That that's a given at this point. What this program does now through the 12 steps and helping other alcoholics and just everything. It's a life program. It makes you a better person. It makes you somebody that other people want to be around. You didn't want to be around Chad and the Madness. Now people actually ask me to do stuff. Imagine that. And my time in the program, just over 3 years, just over 3 years of really working a program, except for my little I got this period. By the way, if you've never had a relapse, learn from this alcoholic. You don't just start off like it was your first drink. It's far worse. It was far worse for me just going back into it. I slipped right back in and gave it my all. Did my day counter start over? Yeah, but I found my way back in. Just like every one of you, whether you're coming back or you were one and done, it stuck with you. You're all warriors. We're all warriors. I, you know, it's a byproduct of military life. I think of everything like a battle. But there was times in battle where I just looked up to the sky and said, I got nothing, help. And that's when I found my higher power, help. And he sent me this room. And if you don't think you have a higher power, the fact that you're sitting there today means you had a higher power. You have a higher power. You may not be able to define it yet, but you have a higher power. This alcoholic should not be alive today. You have a higher power. And if you don't have a higher power yet, just be I I had to think, you know, I might not have a higher power. I just have to be willing to believe that a higher power exists. And my higher power doesn't look like Emily's or Martin's or my man Ron's. It doesn't look the same. It doesn't. But you have to find it. You can't do this on your own. I couldn't do it on my own. I tried to willpower the shit out of it. Yeah, that worked. As I began the program, I quickly learned from folks in this room that I needed to try three things to stay sober. And I can now say unequivocally, it worked for me. I had to do three things. I had to get a sponsor, I had to go to meetings, and I had to work the steps. If I didn't do those three things, I was in here for no other reason than to be social. I have to do I had to do those three things. And if you ever hear somebody say you have to do something in this program, run from them. Look for the people that say, this is what I did. This is my experience. That's why that sponsor is so important. They will take you through the program. Now, I've been doing the program for 3 years, been sober for two, just over two. So it works. It works. And now, as I go through being a sponsor, currently don't have any sponsees right now. All I can do is share what worked for me. I may take my sponsees through the steps differently than Annette does, or than Nay does, or anybody else. But at the end of the day, those 12 steps get hit, and I only ask for them to do one step perfectly. You only have to do one perfectly. And that is step number one. Admit I was an alcoholic and then my life has become unmanageable. I always like to say when I drink in there because it's a little joke simply because my life can become unmanageable if I don't drink too. Then I refer to the serenity prayer again and move on and try not to throat punch somebody. Because if I'm miserable in the program, I'm not doing something correctly. If I'm if everything is weighing down on me and this is just too much and that's too much, I'm not doing something correctly. Every day, I look for progress, not perfection. Every day, progress, not perfection. I'm not going to do it perfectly. If anybody tells you they did the program perfectly, they're a liar because we all have our moments. We all have our weak times. That's why groups are so important because if I'm having a hard time, I know I can set myself right in the center of this screen and let all these other people around me help. Get yourself in the middle of the herd until you're ready to stand on the outside. You never know we're going to be asked to stand on the outside, but if you need to be in the middle, get your butt in the middle and let your fellow alcoholics help you because that help is going to be key at some point. In the military, they teach you how to carry the weight of the world on the shoulders, but not how to pick up a telephone and ask for help. Well, it's the same thing with alcoholics. Picking up this phone when you're struggling is very difficult. At least it is for this alcoholic because I should have it. I've been sober forever. I should have it. But you know what? I don't. So I'll pick up the phone and I'll say, "Hey Martin, what's going on?" We're not even going to talk about the fact that shit's going crazy. I just want to hear Martin's voice. Or, "Hey Emily, look at this Instagram reel." Just reach out and connect because this disease wants us dead. It wants you dead. It's well, it's a battle. But for this alcoholic, he's got to get me alone to do it. When one of my sponsees goes back out into the madness, I'll ask him, "Hey, when's the last time you were at a meeting?" "Oh, it's been a week or two, or..." And then the next one I'll say, "What step were you working when you slipped?" "Oh, I wasn't." Exactly. Because if I'm not working on a step, I'm working on a relapse. And I don't know if I go back out in the madness that my dumb ass is getting back in this room or any room. I know too many alcoholics who are no longer with us, buried too many people because of alcoholism. And you can Monday morning quarterback it all along, just constantly. What should I have done differently? What God gave us free will, and we cannot change somebody who does not want to be changed. You can't change me if I don't want to be changed. But every day I choose to come here and I choose to be changed. I choose my fellow alcoholics to hang out with for 1, 2, sometimes 3 hours a day. I'm with these folks. Hell, I don't even see my wife that much. She's probably happy about that. But I'm here every day. And if I'm not able to make a meeting, something feels off. Something feels off. I need to hear the preamble. I need the structure. Most importantly, I can't be bored. And boy, you guys definitely fill that bill every day. I'm never bored because boredom for this alcoholic leads me down a bad, bad path. So, oh, geez, I've been talking for a while. I'm sorry. I just want to leave you with one thing, and it's my favorite quote. And it goes back to if I'm miserable in this program, I need to do something differently. Because, you know, there is no cookie cutter recovery except for that first step. My favorite quote is from Jack London, and it directly applies to me with this program. And it is the proper function of man is to live, not to exist. I shall not waste my days in trying to prolong them. I shall use my time. I'm not here just to be here. I got to live my life, and I hope you do too. So, with that, I want to thank you all for being warriors. If this is your first time at this meeting, stick around. It's a great group, but I may be a little bit biased. With that, my love to each and every one of you. And since my man's not here and he's not going to be able to do it, I'm going to end my talk with something every one of us deserves. And that's a giant ass hug. So put those arms out there, wrap them around yourself, and just squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. My name is Chad. I am an alcoholic, and I am grateful to be sober today. Thank you all.